Hi, I'm Pamela. I have some artichokes today that I wanted to show you via a video because they're in season right now and the season is very short. So when they do come into season, I really like to take advantage and buy them often. So what I first want to show you how to do is just to wash them. So you just want to run some cold water in between any of these leaves that are, somewhat open. So once you've done that, then you're ready to start trimming them. So I have here a serrated knife. This is basically a bread knife. And this is the best knife to use whenever you are cutting through an artichoke. So I'm gonna trim the bottom. And the reason that we're gonna do this is because we need this to fit into our pot. So you're gonna trim it just enough so that you are not unable to close this with a lid. And then you want to peel away any of these leaves on the bottom that are going to be kind of tough, that you wouldn't end up eating anyway. But you're going to do maybe, 2 layers around and remove those leaves by just kind of snapping them off, just like so. And then what you're going to do is hold the artichoke really firmly in place. Get it nice and stable. You're going to take your large serrated knife and you're going to trim off about this much, about a ½ an inch off the top of the artichoke. So kind of squeeze it and get it firmly down in place and then saw right through that top, just like that. Okay, so then this stuff you'll just compost or toss or whatever. We're not going to end up eating those at all. And then the last step before you actually cook the artichoke is to trim all of these thorny leaves. And I just use a pair of kitchen shears, just like that. So you'll literally get all of those thorns off. So this is a perfectly prepped artichoke. I'm gonna put this in a pot, okay? And I'm also gonna put in here about 2 inches of water. And I'm gonna cook these with the stem side up. I find that they cook so much more evenly this way and they're not bobbing around if you had reversed it and put the stem side down. And I can usually fit in a pasta pot like this, I could usually fit like 3 or 4. So into this, I'm also going to place some bay leaves. I think bay leaves just have such a nice aromatic flavor to them and they go beautifully with artichokes. So this is a dried bay leaf. You won't end up eating this, but it just gives the artichokes a lot of flavor. I'm also going to put in there a lemon. Does the same thing and it also helps the artichoke from turning brown. So you can give this a little squeeze if you want to, like that, and just stick the whole lemon in there. And then lastly, I'm going to put in some garlic, which also goes great with artichokes. So like 3 large cloves, 4 medium cloves. Give them a little smash so you get some of that garlic essence to kind of perfume the cooking liquid for the artichokes. Just like that. Just give it a quick smash with the side of your knife. And this is going to go right into the same pot. Now I'm going to finish the rest of these artichokes and then we'll head over to the stove and cook them. So we're going to put these on the stove and then make sure you cover this with a lid. When it comes to a boil, lower everything down to a simmer, and then you're gonna simmer this for between 30 and 45 minutes. It really depends on how large your artichokes are. If you've got some that are just monsters, you may have to go up a bit. But the way you know if they're actually done, head over here, and I did some earlier, is you just take a small paring knife like this with a small tip, and you take your artichoke, but just go like that, and you see how easily that glides in? So that's how you know this one is done. If you're really not sure, if you're feeling not secure about it, just pull out a leaf and then just have a bite and see if it's tender enough. So once you determine that these are cooked, you're gonna put them into a colander, just drain them a bit. Sometimes there might be a little bit of excess water inside the leaves. You wanna get that out. So drain these a little bit in a colander and then I will show you how to take the choke out of it. Okay, so we have our perfectly cooked artichokes. These are nice and steamed, they're tender. You can absolutely serve them this way to your family, to your guests, but it is nice if you clean out the choke before you serve them. At the top, you can almost see this like purpley flour kind of emerging from the center. And I just take my fingers and I pinch this flour and I remove that. And then inside, you're gonna see, it does actually look like a flower on the bottom. So I take a spoon and I sort of dig just barely underneath that. You don't wanna remove the heart of the artichoke because that to me is the best part. So you just wanna scrape as little as possible, but getting that fuzzy choke out. And if you can do it in 1 spoonful, that is awesome. And then now you're left with a perfectly cleaned out and cooked artichoke. So you can do a couple of things with this. Today, what I think I'm gonna do is make a little tomato basil salad. Let me clean the rest of these artichokes and then we'll start working on the salad. Now, I'm gonna put together a quick cherry tomato and basil salad that we're gonna stick inside the artichokes. So fantastic. So I've gotten most of my cherry tomatoes done, and some of them are cherry tomatoes, some of them are grape tomatoes. It really doesn't matter. I like cherry tomatoes because I find them to be sweet all the time. And I think that they really hold their shape very well. So I'm just cutting these in half, very casual, no, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm also gonna take some basil, which I've already washed and dried. And if you wanna tear the basil, you can. It tends to look a little bit better that way if you tear it, but if you have a very sharp knife, just kind of take all these leaves together. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then just chop, chop, chop. And all we need now is just a little bit of olive oil, some salt, and some garlic, and we are done. So take enough oil to kind of get everything to be a little cohesive. And then I'm gonna sprinkle some sea salt on top. Tomatoes and salt are like the best combination. And then I'm gonna take some garlic. You can do this 2 ways. You can take some garlic and grate it and then blend that into your salad, or you can just take it and smash it and then put it in there. Doesn't that look good? So good. And the colors, I think it's so nice if you can actually find tomatoes in different colors. I think it looks gorgeous. So spoon this right into the cavity of the artichoke, and that's how you would serve it. I mean, how great does that look? So our steamed artichokes with a tomato basil salad is done. Enjoy.